Hi, Landi. Welcome back to Entrepreneurcast. So great to
Hi,
see you
Svietlana.
again.
Love to be as always.
So, Landi, let's talk today about planning and organizing. I know you're super organized, especially with flying all over the world. And I remember our very first episode with the interview that we did. You showed me your book, the way you plan stuff and organize it. And I think that is, for me personally, it's fascinating. I really wish to get that organized. So, tell us a little bit about how do you manage to organize yourself and plan, and what tools do you use for that? What's your whole process looks like?
Right. Svetlana, I talk about decluttering from stage a lot, and initially when I started talking about decluttering, a lot of people went and literally sold their homes and started to go through their boxes and throw stuff out and get rid of it. And even though it's probably one of the most freeing and powerful things you can do when it comes to get yourself to feel a little bit lighter and to lift yourself up and be more travel ready or mobile, if you may. That's not really what I talk about when I talk about decluttering. When I talk about decluttering, I really talk about decluttering your life, decluttering your business, but most importantly, decluttering your mind and your emotional state. So many of us have a job or a business that we run, and we get up in the morning and we constantly tell people that we're busy. We constantly tell people that we're not getting our stuff done. But the reality is, if you should get a person to come and work for them for a week, that classical 80-20 Pareto principle applies. Many time is spent on social media aimlessly. Much time is spent doing all the wrong things right, getting involved in your own business administration, doing stuff that you just absolutely not should be doing. Business networking meetings that you attend, you give people your card, you leave there, nothing happens. So how many business networking meetings have you attended and nothing came from it? And you're sitting here at home with a massive stack of business cards, but it doesn't mean anything really. So all this spending time on social media and all this responding to emails and all this attending network meetings, whatever, I would go as far as to say that 80% of what you're doing is an absolute waste of time. And I know it to be true because where many entrepreneurs and business owners have from 9 o'clock in the morning to, well, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, sitting in one place, using stable internet, having all these resources available, that's not my lifestyle. And I think we spoke about that before. My lifestyle is living between airports, going on road shows, speaking from stage, doing business schools, writing books, all that stuff. So I have to find between that the ability to run a business internationally. And it's very, very possible. So if I can do it, then other people can do it. And my massive, big secret sauce, honestly, is planning. So to put it into context for people who's listening, every single thing in my business, whether it's a process from sending out an invoice or from generating a lead to making sure that lead eventually becomes a client or, if I'm lucky, a friend, to going to stage and speaking and what happens with the person I meet there who is interested in my business to what I post on social media, everything is planned to the tooth. And if you talk about techniques, I use a big journal. I showed you the journal previously. A lot of people would say you have to make everything electronic. I do that eventually, but I start with a book and I map everything out and I journal everything out and I spend most of my time planning. And then the rest of the time, I'm either executing something myself or it's so properly planned that I can actually hand it over to someone else to execute. And that basically is the crux of it, yeah.
So, would you say your 80-20 rule, yeah, in your personal life, would you
Yeah.
say you use 80% for planning and, putting strategies in place and then 20% implementing?
Yeah, that's what I do. So And a lot of people do it the other way around. So when we spoke about my prosperity code, the book that I wrote, I have a formula in there. The formula really is color coded. So it starts with the red circles and then it moves like a traffic light, you know, starts with the red circles and moves over to the orange and then into the green. So my philosophy, and it's worked for me very well, especially because of my extensive travels, is that if you spend a lot of time on your red and orange circles, which is the planning of the business, what is my sales pitch going to look like? What should be in my sales presentation? What is the psychology I need to take into account? What's the actual problem that I'm going to solve for my client? Where do I want to be next year? What do I want to achieve with my road trips next year? Who's the team I want around me? What is the team going to be able to do for me? Where will I find this team? If you have answers to all of those questions and you've mapped it out, then you move over to the green circles. And the green circles is the execution. And what a lot of people do is exactly the opposite. 80% of their time, even more, 90% of their time, sometimes 99% of their time is executing, executing, executing to their own exhaustion. And that is not building a scalable business. That is building something that is going to burn you out. And that's actually trying to live around your business as around to building a business that fits your lifestyle.
So what about all those people who say, just do it, just do it? They just basically talk about doing things without even any preparation or planning or anything. Just go out there and do it. What would you say to that?
Well, I would say just do it, all right, but I would just add it. I would say just plan it. you know and then when you for me, doing is planning. Planning for me is not sitting on a rock and hovering and thinking. I think a lot of people have that misconception. Planning for me is not sitting and necessarily thinking. Of course it's important to visualize, it's important for manifestation, to sit and think and visualize. But planning for me is taking those dreams and taking those manifestations and putting it into mind maps and putting it into visions that make sense to you at one glance. And once you have that down on a journal, then you go and you put it into steps and checklists. So ultimately, after I've built this beautiful mind maps and sketches of what I want to achieve and how the system's going to work and how it's going to be automated, then I go and I use online tools. And I actually put it in there so that my system starts to connect with each other. So I'll give you an example. If you are listening today to this episode and you want to get more planned and organized, go to the Loft. It's www.entertheloft.net. Once you enter that site, you're going to require a password. So just send me a Skype invite to landi.jack and I'll give you that password. And then once you're in the Loft, you'll find a room called Top Tools Room. Now, I call it Top Tools Room because I already went in my planning phase through the copious amounts of time and hours to look for some of the best online sites and systems and apps to help you with your business. And one of the ones that's my favorite that I love is Trello, Trello. And it's basically a system that helps you to plan your day, plan your week. It allows you to invite other team members in there so that if certain things are planned and systemized, you can actually delegate it to them. So it brings everything you have to do together. But bringing something together in the traditional sense would mean to a lot of listeners, okay, I should actually put everything down on an Excel sheet, right? I should have it here. The difference with Trello that I absolutely love is that it brings everything together in one glance. So it helps you to create these boards. So I can look at the screen of my computer and I can see Mondays I have to do this. But not only that I have to do this, here, click on it, comes up a whole checklist of the steps associated with what I have to do. Now I'm building systems. Now, shows me what I have to do on Tuesday. What's my priorities? What did I plan for Tuesday? This business is not going to grow and have the reach that I wanted to have if I'm not going to do the following things on Tuesday. Here's what I have to do, and here's what I've delegated. Here's what has to happen on Wednesday. Here's what has to happen on Thursday, and here's what has to happen on Friday and Saturday. Now I know exactly how long those tasks will take, and I need to know exactly what I need to execute and what other people need to execute, and I can stick to the program, if you may, throughout my travels. Doesn't matter whether I'm in Malaysia on stage, or whether I'm in New Zealand on a road trip, or if I'm in South Africa going to networking meetings, whatever I'm doing, I've done that. I know what my team is doing, and I know what amount of hours per day is dedicated to what I have to do to make this business thrive even more. And if you can just get that right, if you can do that level of organizing and planning, your life will change completely. More importantly, your business will thrive.
Landi, how far ahead do you actually plan things, your business and your life? A lot of people say you should have like a yearly plan and then like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. How far ahead is your life planned and organized? Because obviously you can plan and visualize, but then all those organizational bits that you do with all
Yeah.
your books, how far ahead those go as well?
Yeah, because there's different answers to your question because of our lifestyle that's quite different. So when it comes to our traveling schedule, we normally plan ahead. And there's a lot of, we plan a year ahead for that, 12 months. And there's very good reason for that because if we see where we're going to be in the next 12 months, then it helps me to apply for the correct visas, which can sometimes be daunting and painful and take a long process. I mean, this year alone, I think I'm applying for 5 visas. So I would not be able to plan for the application of that visas if I didn't have a 12-year traveling schedule ahead. So from that point of view, we literally go November, December every year, and we literally say, this is what we want to achieve this year. This is the markets and where we want to play. We have products and service we're launching here. We have speaking gigs and engagements book. We have all that done. So boom, November in a specific year, we have our traveling schedule planned for the next year. So that's planned a year ahead. I would not necessarily, in terms of business goals and planning, go for more than a year. Things change too much. The market changed, their needs change, and you need to be able to respond to that quickly. So even in our 12-month plan, there's sometimes changes to that and different things that needs to be done. When I refer to that level of planning that I'm referring to, I'm more referring to what a weekly plan should be looking like for your business. That is a generic plan. And that's not a generic plan that just popped out of nowhere. That is a plan that started because you mapped out your business. You looked at what's required to make this business successful and reach your goals. Then you took those goals and you broke it down into steps. And then those steps eventually goes into a system like Trello so that you make sure and that you hold yourself accountable to executing those steps on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday if you really now want to go that far. So that's more the type of planning I'm talking about. Generic planning that you repeat, activities that you repeat on a weekly basis. But my scheduling and planning for the year is normally on a 12-month basis, yeah. Never more than that, never.
So, Andy, a lot of people kind of create that plan and they say, okay, I have to do this, and that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and whatever. And sometimes, people even like overnight create a plan or whatever for the next day. But then they never look at that plan and never really get anything done. So, how would you recommend to people to get that organized to actually keep looking at the plan and keep implementing things that you need to get done,
Mm.
and because I know several people, that write the list and would have like, whatever they want to achieve, and then they never do anything with it.
Yeah, I think this is a real thing. It's really happening for a lot of people. And I have to say, many times when I take a new client on board, I ask them this question. I say to them, on a scale from 1 to 10, how committed are you to your business? And I actually get answers like 3 out of 10 and 4 out of 10, and it may not be the right time for me to work with that person because I am looking for people who's 9 to 10 out of 10 to committed to make this business work. So many times people are not committed to their own plan. So they don't refer back to it. They don't execute it because they're simply not committed to it. Now, before we just slam those people down, because I'm sure a lot of you are listening here today and go, oh, that's me. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. I want to make sure that you understand this very well. Many times people are not committed to the business they've chosen because they've chosen it for the wrong reasons. It does not fit your value system, or you are doing that you're doing something that someone else wanted you to do, or you're so desperate to get out of corporate and just start something that you have to start something, but you didn't put thought into what you want to do. So many of my clients come aboard because I help them, I empower them to become really good at business and to become good. A lot of them are consultants, a lot of them are speakers. I empower them to package their products and services, to build these systems, be more planned, be organized, and do all these things. But most of the time, we spend the first few sessions on mind, exactly because of your question. And then we look at a person's value systems, and we have to take years of imprinting out of their minds. Years of corporate imprinting of this is the way you should do things, and this is the way you should do things, and this is the way. And then we spend time unraveling who they really are. What is it that they really want? What is the skills and talents to make them want to get up in the morning? What do they really want to achieve with this? And once that is sorted out, and I guess this is taking us again back to the planning stage, once that is sorted out, and they understand a little bit more of who they are and how their own built-in navigational system work, then keeping to your plans and commitments is no problem at all. If it's simply a case of bad memory for you, get yourself a reminder system. Get yourself something that's going to say, Monday morning, today is lead generation day. Good morning, Svietlana, today is lead generation day. And that's what you're going to stick to. And then you click on your Trello board and you check what needs to be done on a Monday. And then on a Tuesday, it's going to go, say, good morning, Svietlana, today is your customer relationship services day. Today, you're going to be actually giving people a service, looking after your clients. And good morning, Svietlana. Today is Wednesday. Today, you're going to spend on building your sales assets. Today, you're going to build content. You're going to get your blogs out there. You're going to actually build video content. You're going to edit your videos. Everything is systematically planned. Now, remember, some of you may be listening to this and go, you can't always plan it that meticulously. That's not what I have to say. I'm not saying you're not allowed to deviate from time to time, but I am saying that you'll have to, some extent, commit to a plan that's going to make sure that certain things happen in your business. Otherwise, you're just going to be shooting in the dark.
I think you answered all my questions.
No, I want more. I have to warn you, there always come warnings with these things. Let me start with a promise. I promise if you start putting thought into the planning of your business and life, you're going to get ridiculously good results. I have to warn you, there's detail in this. And a lot of you listen here don't like the detail. If you don't like detail and if you don't like stepping and mapping things out, if you're the type of person to go, I want to sell, but you can't see that sales mean, step one, you have to understand your target market. Step two, you have to understand their problem. Step three, you have to build slides. You have to build a sales presentation. That sales presentation have to have the pictures in there that means a lot to those people. That sales presentation have to have a story in that you actually thought through. That sales presentation, if you are not willing to, with every system and thing in your business, plan it meticulously like that, get help. Get someone to help you.
Okay, so how about we wrap up with a list of the things that people should go through to get really organized and to know how to plan their week or month or a year?
Sure. Okay, systems and automation sounds ridiculously boring, but it doesn't have to be. So it actually is going to start with a creative process in your mind. So step number one, get yourself a big fat journal. You saw my book, Svietlana. It's not this big, it's big. It's a big book. It's like a sketching book. Go and get yourself a sketchbook and get yourself some color cokies or pen, whatever you want. And then you remove yourself from your environment again and you go and start sketching out the top things in your business that has to happen for your business to survive. I mean, immediate things that comes to mind is lead generation has to happen. Sales have to happen, administration, financing, invoicing has to happen. Otherwise, people's not going to bill you, networking has to happen, connection with other people. Go and find those main areas. If you're not sure of the main areas in your business that needs to be covered, you can go to the loft. There's a section on team, and that will give you a good idea. So map out the main processes in your business. Then you go to the next level and you break down what exactly has to happen in order for this to be successful. What's the 10 steps, in order for that to be successful? So you sort of start branching it out more and more. It's like a mind map. The main areas, the steps below it, and then you start assigning roles. If you're assigning your name to each one of those roles, at some stage you're going to get into trouble. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it though. I think it's great if business owners go from day one in their business and get involved first so that they can build those systems and refine it better. So big book, sketch out the main areas, break it down into steps, and then take those steps, put it into an online system. If you want to use an Excel sheet, do that. If you want to use Trello, do that. If you want to use other team management software like Capsule, do it. And then you put it online into a system and then you automate it. Automation means making sure that all these systems that you've put online in some way connect with each other so that you don't have to remember everything yourself. Those for me would be the biggest 4 steps in order to get your life and your business totally organized.
Thank you very much, Landi. I think everyone will go out and get really organized now. I
Good. Now,
really hope so. And if they don't, they better Skype you.
welcome. They're welcome to do so. Thank you, Svietlana.
Thanks a lot. See you next
Have a
week.
nice week. Bye.